Well, it's time for a truly big money 49ers update. This was a big money kind of day. We got a couple of news drops. The most significant of which is that the 49ers are exploring selling 10% of their franchise at a $9 billion valuation. So that means 900 million for 10% of the team. In essence, the 49ers are looking for a big cash infusion because 10% of the team is not a controlling stake. It's just 10% of the team. You need to have at least 51% to be the controlling owner of a football team. So if you can manage to bring in $900 million for just 10% of the team, you will potentially be, or I can't even say potentially, you will be swimming in cash. And the 49ers are at a position right now where they're about to host Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. That's going to be happening about a year from now. They're in a position where they have the most jersey sales out of any NFL team. They're sitting on a fan base that is extremely internationally oriented relative to other NFL fan bases. I mean, this is a confluence of factors that I think makes it the right time to be looking to raise money if you're the 49ers. With the valuation of professional sports teams booming across the entire world, especially though with the valuation of NFL teams booming right now, the 49ers are in the perfect spot of NFL teams to be looking for big investments. And they are now exploring selling 10% at that $9 billion valuation. This comes from the Sports Business Journal today. Now, that news hit just about an hour after we learned some related news. The NFL salary cap is tied to NFL league revenues. So, NFL franchises, their valuations are booming. Well, NFL revenues are booming as well. Take a look at what is going on with the salary cap. This is from a memo that has been sent around to NFL team owners. The NFL expects the salary cap to rise to at least 277.5 million and at most 281.5 million. There still is some haggling to go between the NFL Players Association and the league, but we do know that this is now the range for the 2025 salary cap. And those of you who watch this show, thank you for doing that, by the way. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you are a returning viewer. But those of you who watch this show know that I've said that nothing on the Brock Purdy front can potentially happen until the 49ers know what the salary cap is going to be. Well, the NFL has crunched some of the numbers. The Super Bowl happened just about a week and a half ago, so they now know exactly how much ad revenue has come in through the viewership and through all of the streaming products that they put out there over the course of the 2024 season. Now they just have to finalize the bill, the exact line total of the player costs for 2025 with NFLPA. That includes some player incentives. And as soon as the NFL has that, they will be able to deliver an exact salary cap number, but they now have the range that's going to allow teams to determine how they conduct their business as far as player contracts moving forward. So this is really important for the 49ers because they've got some very important, outstanding business. That includes paying Brock Purdy, and they have to decide what to do with Deebo Samuel as well. But take a look at how the cap has increased just over the course of the past 2 years. The salary cap, this is going to be a $20+ million increase to about $280 million. Last year, it was $255.4 million. The year prior to that, it was about $224 million. So you're seeing a 13.6% increase in the salary cap that the 49ers enjoyed from 2023 to 2024. And now, depending on where it lands on this range, between 277.5 and 281.5, you're going to see an 8.6 to 10.2% increase in the NFL salary cap. All told, the increase from the 224 million number to the 280+ million number that we will see here for 2025 might be as big as 25% in 2 years. Anybody with any shred of business acumen and business knowledge knows that 25% growth in 2 seasons is staggering. An NFL salary cap is reflective of NFL revenues. So we could probably understand why the 49ers are going with this $9 billion valuation. By the way, that's the air train behind me. This is the Grand Hyatt at SFO. We came back from French Polynesia yesterday, in transit onto Nashville again here in a couple days for me. I'm going to hang out in San Francisco for a little bit, take care of some business here. But um, I just noticed I was looking at the reflection behind me in the window, and I saw the air train going by. You could sit in this hotel and just walk out, take the elevator down, hop on the air train, and you're in your terminal. So you don't have to worry about traffic headed to the airport. You could literally wake up and walk onto your flight without heading outside. I think it's a super cool concept. A lot of these big airports around the world are starting to get their hotels in the actual airport, and SFO did a really, really good job with theirs. So you can watch the air train move on behind me as I talk about all this 49ers salary cap stuff. So it's not too hard to see that the 49ers really recognize the NFL's boom because they see their own value skyrocketing along with that boom. They're obviously part of it. The rising tide here lifts all of the boats in the same body of water. So on the same day that we have the $9 billion valuation of the 49ers exploring the sale, we have the big salary cap update. And I could spin that salary cap update forward to discuss where exactly the 49ers are in terms of their financial situation, paying players, maybe even cutting players, maybe trading players like Deebo Samuel. And to give you the concise rundown, we have to go to my salary cap sheet. I'm proud of my salary cap sheet because I've long been working with a $280 million salary cap. And of course, the projection came in today between 277.5 million and 281.5 million. So on a $280 million salary cap, considering the fact that the 49ers have carried over 50 million in unused space from 2024 to this season, they are going to have 46 million to work with. That's assuming a roster projection that looks like this. In short, that is enough money for the 49ers to do what they need to with Deebo Samuel, to do what they need to with Brock Purdy, to do what they need to in free agency, to sign their 2025 draft class. As it turns out, all of this talk that I've had to endure looking at social media from people who don't know or don't understand the finances, the 49ers won't be able to do what they need to because of the salary cap, because they're in some kind of super constrained position. It turns out that all of that was BS. None of that applies. The 49ers have 46 million in cap space. They've got healthy situations moving forward into future years. They have successfully backloaded deals, and they've taken advantage of the rising salary cap, which happens on a year in and year out basis now in the NFL. So one of the big pieces of business that I think people are not getting a good read on right now is the Deebo Samuel situation. I saw a tweet today, forgot who put it out there, but this was it came up from a reputable source saying the 49ers can't possibly trade Deebo Samuel because they don't have the cap situation to do it. It doesn't make sense from their cap situation. And to that I say, how doesn't it make sense to their cap situation? I mean, I've been working with their cap situation the whole time here. They've got 46 million in space. They're set to gain space when they extend George Kittle. It'll be more like 56 million. You mean they can't afford an extra 15 million in dead money hit this year on Deebo Samuel? Money that would hit the cap anyway in future years, mind you, if you put on a post June 1st designation. You're telling me that they can't absorb an extra 15 million when they're absolutely swimming in salary cap space due to the way that they've backloaded these deals and managed the contract with void dead money? I mean, it's preposterous to say that the 49ers do not have adaptability right now. They absolutely do. Now, the separate question with Deebo Samuel is what will he command as far as trade return goes. Because in the simplest sense, the Deebo Samuel situation is this: Deebo wants an extension from any team. I think originally he preferred to get one from the 49ers. He might still prefer to get one from the 49ers, but the 49ers have obviously said, no, we're not going to extend Deebo Samuel coming off of a bad season, entering his lame duck year. There is no such thing as a really good player in the NFL who's content playing on a lame duck contract with only 1 year left to go in the deal. Guys like to get extended before they enter the final year on that contract. It is not hard to see why. They want that security. They feel that they've earned that security. And in a situation like Deebo Samuel's, where the guy was an all-pro in 2021, he's done a lot of good things on the field. Even last year, he did some good things on the field, but obviously is coming off of a down year, had injuries, went into the hospital with pneumonia. It was weird for the 49ers as a whole. It was especially weird for Deebo Samuel. You're kind of caught in an in-between zone where you feel that, okay, maybe somebody else is going to value me enough to give me an extension so I don't have to deal with his lame duck year on my contract. But my current team, the 49ers, they're not willing to give the extension, at least at the level that I want right now. So I'm going to ask for a trade. So it all boils down to Deebo Samuel wanting to find an extension. I think if the 49ers just said, fine, we're going to give you the extension at the price or close to the price that would be okay with Deebo Samuel, I think that the trade request would be rescinded and Deebo Samuel would happily sign with the 49ers. But obviously, San Francisco doesn't want to do that. Obviously, the 49ers are saying, well, instead of just letting Deebo Samuel play out the lame duck year on this contract, because we don't want to give him the extension for various reasons. I think the main one is he's not the best fit with Brock Purdy's skill set. I think that they're evolving as far as the receiving room goes. So the 49ers, because they don't think that Deebo Samuel is a long-term match for them anymore at this point, they want to recoup some value. So they still own the contractual rights, maybe at a decent price. I don't know. That's going to be the big operative question here. Is Deebo Samuel at $17 million, which is about his price tag for an acquiring team in 2025? Is that going to be worth exchanging capital with the 49ers for? That's at the core of all this. But the 49ers believe that they can potentially recoup some value for Deebo Samuel before that contract expires. And on top of that, they believe that they can definitely benefit from the 16 or 17 million in outright cap savings that they would get by trading Deebo Samuel. He's due a $15.4 million option bonus on March 22nd, and he's got $1.1 million in base salary that would be guaranteed for this 2025 season. So you offload that. That money is saved over the long run because cap space or unused cap space flows from season to season. And theoretically, for the 49ers, any draft capital would be better than no draft capital in return, because that would be in addition to the money that you have saved that you're not going to pay Deebo Samuel anymore. The potentially thorny part of this from a financial perspective is that all money that has been paid to Deebo Samuel already, but it hasn't hit the cap because the 49ers love to backload these contracts, all of that money has to eventually hit the cap at some point. So we're going to take a look at Deebo Samuel's contract right now so you can understand how this works. I know I went over it last week, but I think it's worth going over again. This is how it works. In 2025, he's got that veteran minimum base salary. But look at all this money that's been prorated, stretched out like an accordion into the future. That's money that the 49ers have paid Deebo, but have deferred cap payment on. And it makes sense because the cap is rising, so why wouldn't you want to pay it later rather than sooner? However, if you do trade him, all the money that is scheduled to hit in 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029 would accelerate and hit in 2025 all at once. That adds up to this, $31.55 million. So as you probably saw on my salary cap sheet, if you didn't, we could zoom back in on it. Deebo Samuel's salary cap hit just for playing for the 49ers, contract as is $15.9 million. If the dead money hit is going to be 31.55 million. Well, you would save this 15.9 million because you wouldn't be paying it to Deebo Samuel this year. But that's, you really wouldn't see the savings in terms of the entire level of the cap until future years, because all the money that needs to accelerate, all of this money right here would hit in 2025, and you would replace the 2025 hit of 15.9 million with 31.55 million. So it's more expensive to trade Deebo Samuel on this year's cap, even though you save money in the long term due to the acceleration of the prorations and how they hit the 49ers 2025 salary cap situation. But that is why San Francisco has done its best to create as much near-term cap room as possible, because they want flexibility. If somebody offers them a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick for Deebo Samuel, the 49ers don't want to say, no, we can't do that because we don't have the cap room. That would be absurd. That's essentially what I saw people talking about on Twitter today, that the 49ers would turn down trade opportunities because they don't have the cap situation to absorb the trade. So they'd be saying no to financial assets. Draft picks are financial assets. They're the most powerful financial assets that there are in this salary cap sport, because they're literally constrained. They're cost constrained. You don't have to pay over a certain amount for a draft pick. It is slotted according to the rookie wage scale. So to build a robust roster, a sustainable, robust roster, there's nothing more valuable than draft picks. If a team offers anything for Deebo Samuel of value, and I think any draft pick is valuable. Brock Purdy went at number 262, the very last pick of the 2022 draft. The 49ers can get anything in return. There's value in that the 49ers will happily jump on. And they don't care if they're going to have to spend 15 million more against the cap this year, because there's inherent value in grabbing those players on rookie contracts that comes with that. So let go of this, oh, the 49ers are going to release Deebo Samuel because they can't afford to trade him. They might release Deebo Samuel if they cannot find a trade partner. That much is unclear right now. We don't know if the 49ers want to jettison Deebo Samuel so badly they don't even care there's not a trade partner. Maybe that's the case. We don't know yet. Actions are going to speak louder than words on that front. But we do know that they're very interested in trading him. We know that Deebo Samuel is very interested in being traded, because he obviously wants to sign a new deal that has nothing to do with a lame duck year. He wants to have some security in this league, as is his right. But we don't know exactly how deep the desire for divorce runs. If Deebo Samuel cannot be traded, will the 49ers just cut him? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they feel that his price this season is fair, because then if he walks after next season, they'll get a compensatory pick. So this is all still, I think, really fluid stuff. And I don't know exactly what the market for a player like Deebo Samuel is going to look like. And I'm sure that there's still some murkiness from the 49ers perspective, because the NFL Combine is starting in a few days. The Combine is going to be the summit that it always is, where agents and executives are all in the same place, where some of this stuff starts to get hashed out. And it's a good thing the Combine is happening now in late February, because March 22nd is when Deebo Samuel's option bonus is due. So the 49ers, I think, would like to see some movement before that March 22nd date. But they have flexibility in their salary cap situation. That flexibility is the $46 million in space that I have calculated the 49ers to have at this very moment. They've successfully surfed the wave of the rising salary cap. Now, as we talk about the big business, we talk about the $9 billion valuation and the fact that the 49ers can get some investment money here. We also have to talk about this guy. Let's put his name down on a text title. And I know I talked about him a little bit earlier, but when we discuss anything related to 49ers finances, especially in this offseason, Brock Purdy's name is going to come up. What we can deduce from the fact that the salary cap continues to rise is, and let's put Brock Purdy up on the screen right now. You can even subscribe to the San Francisco Standard while you do it. There he is. What we can deduce is that the 49ers have plenty of room to do what they need to do financially this offseason. The case of Purdy is a fascinating one, and I wrote a lot about this up on the San Francisco Standard because the performance obviously was not as efficient in 2025 or 2024 as it had been in 2023 and 2022, but it was still very good relative to the other quarterbacks in the league. And Purdy has elite play on his resume from 2022 and 2023. So we have, on one hand, the 49ers struggles, which have been well documented, some of Purdy's struggles that went along with those 49ers struggles in 2024. And on the other hand, we have this insanely good play, some, I think a lot of which actually also bled into 2024. It was a big mixed bag of data for Brock Purdy, but it's something that we had to cover fairly and something that we had to parse through. You have these two competing interests, at least in the media sphere. The media loves talking about struggles and then excellent play. And it seems like with Purdy, they like talking about the struggles a little bit more than what we have on the screen here. He's been the most efficient quarterback in the league since 2022. You have that all set against the backdrop of an exploding quarterback market. And it's just crazy that right now we're getting this $9 billion valuation, the continual increase of the salary cap, but what should be a 10% increase in the salary cap, 25% 2-year increase in the salary cap. That obviously is all tied to the quarterback market explosion. When, we could go to over the cap and we can see when Joe Burrow signed his deal a couple years ago, when Trevor Lawrence signed his deal, when Jalen Hurts signed his deal in 2023. These are all deals worth somewhere in the 50 millions annually. The salary cap was considerably lower when those guys signed their deals than when even Dak Prescott signed his deal on day one of the 2024 season for $60 million annually. So that's all going to play into these Purdy negotiations and these Purdy discussions. The salary, again, 25% increase in the salary cap ever since 2 years ago. I mean, it's wild what we are seeing, right? We're seeing these huge, I can't even say incremental raises anymore. We're seeing these massive steps up every year where you're seeing 30 million added to the salary cap in 2024. Another 20 plus million are going to be added this year. And when players and agents come to the negotiating table, these are the types of things that they talk about. They look at previous high water marks and they say, well, the salary cap has also increased. The size of the pie has gotten bigger. I want my slice to be bigger. And the 49ers have recognized this as a team. They see the pie getting bigger. They see more room in the future. They see bigger refrigerators for the pie in the future. So they're baking bigger pies and stuffing them into the refrigerator in 2027 and 2028. That's where they're putting all of their expenditures now. They're allowing the proration and the amortization to work. The bottom line through all of this is the 49ers do have enough money to pay Brock Purdy, will have enough money to pay him a very premium contract. The structure is going to matter more than the raw monetary totals, and the structure has to reflect the fact that the salary cap is rising on a year-over-year basis. This is what I put. The NFL salary cap keeps on exploding. While I'm talking about this, I should also talk about Rocket Money, because this show is sponsored by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon today. That's rocketmoney.com/gameon, rocketmoney.com/gameon. Today, Deommodore Lenoir returned back to the 49ers facility. Seems like the restful vacation part of the offseason is over for Demo. Take a look at this. Got a nice little image from Instagram that we'll get up on the screen to show you what Demo has been up to. Talked a lot about Demo just a few days ago on our State of the 49ers DB series. He was a Pro Bowl snub. Another year to prove it again. I love it. Let's go. That's a picture from Deebo Lenore himself on Tasman heading toward Levi Stadium. That's the light rail station that I spy there in the bottom left. Looks like he's driving a Mercedes. Nice. Nice sunny day in Santa Clara. Deebo Lenore, Pro Bowl snub in 2024. Back at it for the 49ers. Speaking of the exploding salary cap, he's been a beneficiary. Signed a deal worth $88 million this past season. 49ers have a lot of work to do at the cornerback position. Somebody predicted or said that Asante Samuel Jr. would be a great fit. I think it was like ESPN the other day. They've got a lot of guys to sign at corner. I mean, Asante Samuel's done a great job on his rookie contract. Not the best corner in the game, but he's a big name brand. Asante Samuel Sr. obviously was a really good player. So we'll see who the 49ers add in that room, because I think it's unlikely that Charvarius Ward comes back, but it's mandatory. It's not just likely, it's mandatory that the 49ers add at that cornerback position. It's going to be all part of the big money, all the spending that San Francisco is going to have to do this offseason to fill in parts of the roster that, to be 100% honest, are empty right now. Like, I don't even want to say weak. I mean, they're just parts of the roster that need more players, like the cornerback position that I'm highlighting right here, like linebacker. Defensive line might be more full with guys under contract, but perhaps the biggest calls for the 49ers to upgrade what they're doing is happening at that defensive line position. Mike says that earlier we were talking about the 49ers exploring selling 10% of the team at a $9 billion valuation. Mike says the NFL requires a controlling owner to hold at minimum a 30% stake in the team. Doesn't Tom Brady have 10% of the Raiders? Mike, have you confirmed that? Is it 10% of the Raiders for $244 million? So he's not a controlling owner, but the 49ers are trying to sell off 10%. And the New York Giants, according to the Sports Business Journal, are also looking to sell off 10%. The Giants are valued at $7.3 billion. It is rumored that they're trying to sell their 10% at $1 billion, which would be over the cost of the valuation. I think that is just insane money, by the way. All this money that we're talking about for a non-controlling interest in a team. I mean, this is why it's just a big potential cash infusion, because you're not selling 30%, so it's a non-controlling interest. NFL requires at least the 30, yet you're getting massive, massive money. If the 49ers could get $900 million for 10% of the team, I mean, just think of what they can do with that. I mean, that is, you're swimming in money. It's hard to overstate how good of a business professional sports have become. No wonder billionaires want to buy teams, because they think they can make them trillionaires here at some point. Millionaires into billionaires, billionaires into trillionaires with these professional sports teams. But the 49ers can sell 10% of this at $900 million. At least that's what they're exploring right now. Oh boy. The Cowboys, Forbes valued the Cowboys recently at $10.1 billion. That is the biggest franchise in the NFL as far as evaluation goes. The 49ers are hot on their tail. The 49ers are selling more jerseys than the Cowboys. I think the one domino that needs to fall for San Francisco to be able to call itself America's team, they want to call themselves that because they've got so many superstars and so much name power across the entire nation, even internationally, that they need to win a Super Bowl. The reason that Dallas isn't an even bigger brand right now is because they have the longest NFC title drought out of any NFC team. I mean, it's been really bad over the past 30 years for the Cowboys, but they were the ones that initially pioneered the big business of the NFL. That's what you have to give Jerry Jones credit for. And even despite the fact that they have not had a championship level on-field product, they've still managed to take themselves to a valuation at least according to Forbes, of over $10 billion. But they are ripe for being passed. And a team like the 49ers can pass them. I think that winning a title, man, if the 49ers could do this in their own home stadium next year, how about winning a title, winning a Super Bowl in your own stadium, while you now have a complete controlling interest in an English soccer club, which is probably going to be back in the Premier League, that's Leeds United, while you're probably diversifying your investments elsewhere around the world. And this is a real chance for the 49ers, just as an institution internationally, to explode, especially with the NFL at the pivot point of all these international games. It's no longer just a US based business. This is an entire international enterprise. Tom Brady is 5% of the Raiders. So not quite 10%, 5%. And I believe it was 244 million, which is obviously a much smaller valuation. 244 million for 5%. So you'd have to go, 488 million for 10%. That is about half of what the 49ers are looking for 10%. Any questions on this big money day? It's a big money 49ers update. We've already gone through Rocket Money. I think that was a good way to start it. But why don't we answer whatever you need answered here in the comment section? Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel questions. I think I went over a lot of that kind of stuff. People want to end the quest for 6 at Super Bowl 60. Wouldn't that be something? Super Bowl 60, Levi Stadium. Bo says, I'm calling it now. 49ers against the Chargers in the Super Bowl. So the house that Harbaugh helped build, would he be coaching against the 49ers in the Super Bowl about 10 years later? That would be crazy. Riley wants to know, when will Brock get paid? Well, I think it's a lot closer now that the salary cap is firming up. I think that has been a mandatory variable in all of this. Did AI write this comment right here? Because it's not, it's not wrong, but it's awfully poetic. I'll read it. The draft is the linchpin, the critical instrument to rejuvenate needs that crave revitalization. The 11th pick heralds the inception of aspirations and the dawn of dreams yet unrealized. I didn't know that Shakespeare was a subscriber to the channel. That's beautiful right there. The crazy thing is that in the year 2025, a computer could have written that. Computers are getting really smart. They're getting really smart. As Dave says, I hate AI. We're probably going to get a lot of anti-AI comments. What's 10% of 9 billion? 900 million. 900 million. Bo Adams was impressed with the poetry. Is Brock Purdy also in Cabo? I know that George Kittle is in Cabo right now. I know a lot of guys are in Cabo. I guess George and Claire threw an event in Cabo. Mike, was Brock part of that picture? Maybe we can share the picture. But I do know the big group of guys are down there. Eric says the Chargers are not making the Super Bowl with a fraud quarterback. You might have a point. I don't think that Justin Herbert is at the level of a Super Bowl quarterback, especially in that conference. There's a lot of really, really good names you have to go through in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. And Herbert really hasn't shown that he is capable of that yet. Based on what we've seen from him on the biggest stages that he's played on in the postseason, he's not yet at that level. No, the 49ers valuation and any potential sale, that doesn't have anything to do with the salary cap. It just was a confluence of numbers today. It's indirectly related because the 49ers can value their franchise at a very high amount, and that's related to the fact that the NFL prints money and NFL revenues are tied to the size of the salary cap. So in that way it's connected, but you can't just sell off parts of the team and expect your cap limit to be higher. That it's not related in that kind of way. Chris says, crap, I missed everything. 20-second recap. Okay, 20-second recap. The 49ers are exploring selling 10% of their franchise at a $9 billion valuation. That's $900 million. It takes 30% control or 30% ownership to have a controlling stake in a football team. So this just amounts to a potential massive cash infusion for the 49ers. If somebody's willing to buy 10% at a $9 billion valuation, well, the 49ers just injecting that money into their bank account. Same thing happened, or this happened on the same day that the NFL salary cap has been revealed to continue exploding. The NFL salary cap is going to increase to about 280 million next year. Anywhere between 277.5 million and 281.5 million. That means the 49ers, who have about 46 million of space based on the calculations that I have performed with this new cap number at 280 million. We'll know the exact amount in a few days. 49ers have enough money to do whatever they need. That includes trading Deebo Samuel, even though that would be more expensive on the 2025 cap, because the 46 million that San Francisco is currently sitting on is a lot of money to work with. Purdy's not going to cost all that much against the 2025 cap. George Kittle is going to be a discount once the 49ers finalize his extension. So it's a big money day for the 49ers, and it's good news for the 49ers. And that is my 20-second update, more like a 2-minute update. But Chris is a good viewer, so thank you to Chris. Greg asks, can the 49ers restructure Nick Bosa's deal or no? You can restructure pretty much anybody's deal who has a base salary of over the league minimum. Because what a restructure is taking the base salary and converting it to signing bonus. The 49ers cannot restructure Nick Bosa's deal this season because his base salary is already the league minimum. The first restructure for Nick Bosa can happen in 2026. So to illustrate right here, this is Nick Bosa's contract from over the cap. 2025, look at that, league minimum base salary. They built this with low base salaries on purpose. Next year's base salary rises to 22.7 million. So you'll be able to restructure about 21 million of that. You'll be able to take that 21 million, convert it to signing bonus, spread it into the future. So Bosa's cap hit is scheduled to be 42 million next year, but the 49ers will be able to reduce it to probably around 25, 26 million next season. They'll be able to save a good 15 plus $million in salary cap space. That is how they surf the wave of the rising salary cap. So I answered Greg. There you go. Somebody, Riley was saying, please answer Greg. I did. All right, I've given the 20-second update. We've gone for 38 minutes. This is the big money 49ers update. You guys have seen the air train go behind me plenty of times here at the SFO airport. Everybody, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit the sub button, and we will talk to you soon. Mike sent me a video. What did you send me a video of, Mike? Oh, the video from Cabo. Well, we'll play it next time. Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Trent Taylor, Nick Zakel, Eric Saubert, Braden Willis, all those guys in the video. How about we cover this tomorrow? I think that could be fun. All right, everybody have a good night.